welcome back to Window Shopping with Car and Driver. Today we have 4 Car and Driver staffers, and we're joined by John Perley Huffman, our longtime contributor. Today we're going to be looking at $30,000 exotic cars, and we're going to dive into just what exotic might mean too, I think. So if Drew, you want to take it away with your choices?
I gotta say, this was a challenge. I had a hard time finding good cars, but I did find a couple that I think you guys will like. The first one is a true exotic. This Maserati Gran Turismo. Big fan of Italian cars. I really like the color on this one. It's like a
red wine.
Yeah. And it has
just under budget.
Camel interior. And it's just under budget. Yep.
How many miles?
This one only has 13,000 miles on it. So the depreciation, pretty crazy. A little outdated here on the infotainment, but got a V8, goes fast, looks great. What more could you want, right?
Another Maserati, Drew.
Yeah.
Is this an automatic one or an automated manual? What do they call it? Duo Select?
I can't remember.
I don't know if it was.
I think it's
probably
regular automatic based on the shift knob.
Right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Duo Select had a little yeah.
Yeah, it has the conventional shifter, the Prindle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants an Italian, but maybe wants to go with something a little bit more unique, I've got something for that too. It's a little bit older, but this is a 76 Lancia Scorpion.
I saw that same car. I thought that was pretty cool.
I don't know if that's exotic. What's the case that this is exotic?
I mean, doesn't it look exotic to you?
Well, the problem is that it's a Lancia Beta with the drivetrain switched around. It has the Lampredi 124 Fiat engine in it.
Right.
So
It's a Lancia Fiero.
Yeah, it is a Lancia Fiero. However, to say that, it's really pretty, and it did lead to the 037 rally car.
They are pretty. They're super pretty.
Look how the hood opens.
But is it exotic? It's the same question you'd have if a Fiero was exotic. I guess this is a little more exotic because it's Italian, but.
Well, it's kind of exotic in that there aren't very many of them.
That's true.
Yeah.
And and the thing is that you're not going to show up and see, oh, there's 15 different. This is a Scorpion or Monte Carlo. This is a U.S. market car, right? So it's a Monte Carlo. I mean,
Scorpion in the U.S. I think Monte Carlo elsewhere. I remember this car because it was in one of the Herbie Love Bug movies. It was like Herbie's love interest or something was a Lancia.
Is that the one with Michael Keaton and Lindsay Lohan?
No.
It was the older one.
Okay.
The Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo had Don Knotts, and it also had I don't remember, but it was and the villain had a Laser 917, a Porsche 917 body on a Volkswagen chassis. And
this one has the addition. This one has 4 headlights in front. They usually just have 2. They couldn't call it the Monte Carlo in the United States because the Chevy Monte Carlo.
Chevy, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, what else we got, Drew? I don't know if that's exotic.
It might not be exotic, but I just thought it was cool, and it's only 15 grand, so it's like really half the budget.
It's also those wheels are awesome. I mean, that car looks so good on those wheels.
It's a beautiful car, no denying that.
Yeah.
All right, the third one that I have for you is also kind of questionably exotic, but it's kind of crazy, and I think it's exotic. And it's a Zimmer.
My eyes.
This is a 1987 model, and this is what I would think this reminds me of Cruella de Vil.
It reminds me of Liberace.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, isn't that the center section off of a 1987 Cougar?
Is it, or is it a Mark 7?
No, I don't think it's a Mark 7. I don't think they would have spent that much money on the base car. I think the base car was a Cougar.
Is there a difference?
Oh, yeah, it's a Mustang or a Cougar, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Cougar. So I think that's the original Cougar center section. And
you get Recaro seats. Those are Recaro seats.
Yeah.
With contrasting piping.
Well, it's exotic, am I right?
Well, the thing is, I don't understand how they engineered the entire front end of the car because, okay, that's definitely a Cougar in the back.
Yeah, it's a Cougar. Yeah, you're
Cougar
right.
is that it's a unibody car that they somehow stretched the wheelbase on.
Well, I mean, they did a limo stretch basically. It's just, it stretched it without a body, without any interior, without the cabin.
Right. So the engine is sitting where?
And they just stretch dash to axle.
Yeah. Is it dash axle or is it front of engine axle? I mean,
they put in those fake exhaust manifold. Yeah.
Those are fake. Those are fake.
They've got to be fake.
Oh my God!
They're off like
You're
a
the illusion, Tony.
Yeah.
My question is,
Dyson.
do we think
You ruined it for all our youngsters out there who thought they were real.
do we think that these horns play La Cucaracha?
I think they play whatever you wanted to play.
Or Dixie, yeah. Oh, wow, that's not a good angle. Go back to the rear 3/4.
Yeah, one more.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Please get this off my screen.
No, I want to see more pictures.
I want to see where the engine. Hit the engine.
There are a ton of pictures of this thing.
Hit the engine. Let's see where the engine's placed in this thing, because I don't think they moved the engine.
No way there's an engine photo. Is there?
There is.
Yes.
5-liter Mustang engine photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at where the furthest rear exhaust header tube, faux header tube comes out.
The vacuum tubes.
Yeah. But look at it. You can see where they stretch it. It's all in front of the engine. The engine's in the stock position. They just stretch it all in front of the engine.
Good for crash safety.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Got a big crumple zone.
When you have the
I would
axle,
love
you
to
have
see an
down way out
offset
there.
head-on with this car.
Is that the last picture, Drew? Keep
That is the last picture. So that's the last.
darn.
I will stop subjecting you to photos.
No, I loved it.
No, I want more.
All right. Thanks, Drew. Joey, you want to show us what exotics you have? Can you beat an Excalibur?
I don't think I can beat an Excalibur, but I don't think I want to. So my first pick is a Bricklin. This is something you will not see coming and going, although I have seen one in the Detroit area for the Woodward Dream Cruise once.
There's
I've
one that
seen him in Michigan.
There's a few.
Yeah, there's a guy that brings one to the Ann Arbor Car Show every year.
Yeah. So I think that this qualifies as an exotic just based on the shape. It's not fast. It's not that cool, but it has that kind of wedge shape.
It's got gull wing doors. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, there's like a certain number of criteria and gull wing doors shape, you know.
Well, you know how they built that thing is it has a originally the 1974 was the first year and it had an AMC 360 and it used all the chassis pieces from an AMC Hornet, so the suspension was AMC Hornet. And the next year they moved over to the Ford engine, but they kept
this one has the Ford 351.
Right, that's the second year they went to the Ford 351, but they kept all the AMC suspension components.
That right door, the right side door, looks like it's a little lower than
It
the.
sags a little bit more. Could use a new strut.
But the reason that this attracted my attention is because they took a picture of the time that the Bricklin was on the cover of Car and Driver versus the Corvette.
What's the answer? Does it surprise us?
Yeah.
Well, I love this like vintage clickbait, basically. When we paired.
Wait, should I pull the issue up? Do we want to know?
Yeah, if you can pull it up quickly.
I got it. Was it July? Was it July?
Yeah, these were made in. This
May
is Malcolm
75.
Bricklin's.
May
This is
75?
Malcolm Bricklin's car. The guy who brought the Yugo in. The guy who brought Subaru to the United
Yeah,
States. And
he had other claims.
he convinced the Canadian government to help him build this car. And
Yeah, so
where were
this
they made?
has
New
some-
Brunswick?
Is it
This has
Brunswick?
some little Canadian medallion thing to go along with it. I don't really know what it means.
That's a
but-
coin.
Yeah,
What's
he
it coming-
promised
got the
like a lot
Bricklin
of
on,
jobs and a lot of production. It's sort of like a prototype failure to the DeLorean.
Yeah. Well, because it was intended to be like a
the failure before the failure.
the prototype failure for another failure.
Failure, you're right? Yeah. The good thing is, remember, if you landed upside down on these cars, you were basically stuck because you couldn't open the doors.
Which is weird because it was intended to be like a safety first vehicle. Like that was the whole idea behind it.
That's how he sold it, But he wanted to be a sports car manufacturer, but he could only sell it to get the money if he sold it as a safety car.
Yeah.
It's actually called the Bricklin SV1 for Safety Vehicle 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Don
that's
Sherman
the
wrote
first
this
pick.
comparison test.
Oh, did you find it?
Yeah.
Who wins?
Who died?
They didn't really declare a winner, but I mean, there's.
So
So
what
it
was
was
the
just
question?
clickbait.
Bricklin or Corvette? The answer may surprise you. Apparently, we didn't really give an answer.
How
No,
quick
no.
was it?
The Bricklin is I don't know. There's like a reefer, so I got to jump through this and figure out and get.
All right, don't worry about
I
it.
remember the
Yeah, I'm done.
75 Corvette was about as bad as Corvettes got.
It's not saying much.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
Okay, speaking of Chevrolet, my next choice.
Oh God.
Oh no.
I was pretty sure
Next car.
this was gonna get a bad
I
reaction.
don't weirdly like these though.
This is
These
like
are not
Colorado.
good.
So this is just a pickup truck basically with a crazy hot rod body. I mean, this is like a weird. It's weird
I
that
forgot
they
about those
sold this
gauges.
as a factory thing.
It was basically, Joey, it was a two-door Trailblazer SS with rebody.
Yeah.
With
Yeah, it doesn't-
crazy
it doesn't-
body work.
It has coil springs in the back, so it doesn't have a truck suspension in the back.
These were not fast. These were not fun. They were not structurally rigid. And I don't particularly love the way they look. I'm saying no to exotic.
I've never seen anybody less than the age of 80 driving one of those.
Are you combing
not
your
cool.
hair?
I just had to comb my hair. I just want to make sure I look good. God damn it! This is my review. This is my.
You a Dapper Dan man?
I try to be.
But I liked this one because it was a manual, and I had honestly forgotten that this came in a manual.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And it's a Corvette engine.
You know, it's unusual. It is exotic in the fact that it's
Yeah.
that nobody wanted them, so nobody bought them.
This
Anyway,
looks like
I'm not-
pretty. This looks brand new, Joey. Only
Yeah, I
it's
think
got the original tires on.
5,000 miles.
5,000 miles, 350 miles.
Oh, you're over the budget. You're just over the
Yeah,
budget.
okay. So hear me out. I knew this would get a bad reaction, and it's over the budget. But I wanted to find something in this like weird retro moment. So I found this, which I think is inarguably exotic.
Yeah.
Does the trailer come with the trailer?
So yeah, the trailer I think it costs extra, but kind of completes.
How can you pass it up?
Yeah.
Where is it? Is it in California?
That would be
It's in
California.
Orange County. Or
Is
no,
this an early one or a late one? This is a late one, so it has a
It's in
3.
Arizona.
This has the more powerful 3.5 liter V6. I think it was like 250 something horsepower.
Yeah, this whole car was Chrysler experimenting with aluminum. That's what they learned from building this car, was how to do things in aluminum.
That was important. I mean, you know.
But didn't it also it launched
Yeah,
auto stick,
did
didn't it? Didn't it launch like manumatic transmissions?
Yeah, it's got auto stick.
I think the Eagle Vision TSI might have, Casey. That had it really early.
Well, it's the same transmission, same drivetrain as an Eagle TSI or a thing.
Yeah,
Just
it is that 3.5
Right.
liter.
They just put a prop shaft between the two. They moved the engine to the back. I mean, the transmission to the back, kept the engine basically there, and then put a prop shaft between the two.
I like this really janky tack that it's got going on above the steering wheel.
Hot rod stuff.
That was factory. They did that though. That was how they sold them.
It looks like an
Yeah,
iron with tires on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, kind of. I like the purple color too. I would prefer purple over
Yeah,
the...
I found 2 different yellow ones. I couldn't find any purples.
Did you get this with a manual or just the automatic?
No,
No.
Automatic.
The interior just looks like a Plymouth Breeze though, right? Am I right?
Yeah, it has some depressing Chrysler 90s stuff in it, yeah.
Isn't this like
But just
Tom
imagine
Hanks,
what people are going to say to you when they see you driving this car. I mean, it's like nothing else.
Go back to the shot of the battery. Go back to the shot of the battery.
I didn't realize this was a push rod suspension.
Yeah, the push rod suspension. It's like an Indy car.
Wow.
Because it's so narrow in the front, yeah.
Yeah, that's really. I mean, no, there are cool elements to this car and how
Totally.
it's weird. I mean, they didn't do anything with what they learned from this though, because all the aluminum structure stuff led nowhere, and Chrysler learned nothing from all this experimenting, even though the car had some valid ideas they never pursued.
Was this the last year of it, or did it go to
I think
01?
there was one, I was looking, and I think there was 1 year, maybe 01 or 02, when Plymouth had been killed, and so they called it a Chrysler Prowler.
Right, that's what I was getting at, Joe. Yeah, exactly.
But I also, the name was a big part of the appeal for me, because I think Prowler is like one of the best car names of all time. Like,
The Prowler came out before the PT Cruiser, right?
yes.
Yeah, oh yeah. It came out in like 97 or 96.
Right. So the Prowler is kind of like the car that validated that look for the
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind
Found
of.
the original Car and Driver story from, I think, 1997. Which did have the purple one, if it'll load.
I think when they tested the later one, they had the trailer on it too.
Yeah, so here's the purple one drifting.
Yes, I
This
love
is
the purple.
97.
Was the trailer a factory option?
No,
Oh.
they just had a photo shoot with like a clown running after after a yellow Prowler, like the one Joey has selected.
And then we had a take a few years ago saying maybe it wasn't pointless after all.
What was the price of the one that you found again?
$29,000.
You know, it's
Your
interesting.
budget.
It said that in the 1997 story they estimated the price at 35. I mean, except for the fact that nothing's worth the same amount of money now anymore. It hasn't lost that much value over
Yeah,
time.
that's true.
It barely has any miles on it, right? 10,000 miles.
10,000.
12,000. Yeah, I would definitely have this over that. The Chevy SSR.
Well, Joey, I can't wait to see which one you pick for voting.
I'll have to ponder for a while.
Joey, come on.
All right, Pearlie, you want to try sharing your screen and let's see what you got?
God help me. Let's see how this works out. Hold on a second.
Morgan.
Yeah. This is,
Wow, what is this?
It's a Morgan 4.4 1958.
Can you scroll up, Pearlie? We can't see the top of your screen.
does that say termite damage?
Yeah, it probably has termite damage. It probably has all sorts of damage.
Pearlie, can you scroll up so we can see the top of the listing?
At the top of the listing here. There. Okay, the 19.5. You see there?
No.
I'm at the top. I don't know how else to do it. I'm trying to get there, so
All right, well, let's look at the pictures then, since we can't really see the top of your browser, but I guess we're gonna have to live with that.
Okay. I think this car looks
Too
like
bad we didn't practice this. Huh?
Tony, just because you control my income is the only reason why I'm tolerating you. This thing's a mess, but it's so cool. I mean,
Is it?
Well, yeah, look at it.
Picture.
The fenders are like, are this off-white that looks like it's been fading the thing. None of the body panels are really straight. Look at how the door fits. It's terrible.
Pearlie, can we see
So,
some pictures?
click
Can
through
you
some
go
of the
through the
pictures.
photos, please?
There we go.
Oh,
There's
wait,
something.
there we go.
There's an engine.
Okay, there's an engine. Okay,
No air filter. Perfect.
I think that might be the original upholstery. And
it looks rough, but it looks kind of cool.
it looks really cool. This is like an old baseball glove. It's like sitting inside of it's really just kind of like decrepit. It's one of these things that's, got patina. So,
You don't necessarily want to put your hand in it.
Is the two-tone intentional, do you think?
It says yellow and cream. I don't think it's intentional, though. I think it became yellow and cream. But, it doesn't have a front bumper. It's got the thing is though, it's just one of those cars that even when it's not running, it's nice to go out the garage and look at it.
It's
And
not going to be running a lot, I bet.
No.
but it's simple to keep. These are relatively simple cars to keep going because there's really nothing to them. You use an Austin engine, and they're
You recently drove the new one, right?
I did. They're wonderful cars. I mean, you can't fit in them. They're miserable in every possible way. And then you start getting out on the road, and you just love every second of it. And
How much do they want for it, Pearlie?
$75,000. This one they want let's see if I can remember how much this is. This is $19,500, and I can't imagine that it would be that hard to keep it on the road without spending much more money. I swear. It's it's kind of look at it. I mean, why would you want to fix that? Would you want to fix that? Would you want to fix that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 19.5. Yeah, not
What?
bad. 19.5. Okay, I don't know if it's exotic, but okay.
Oh, it's a Morgan. What do you want? They make less Morgans than they make Ferraris. Ferrari drops more cars off this loading dock than Morgan makes cars, and you're not calling it an exotic?
Okay, it's an exotic.
Okay, thank you very much.
Convinced by your rant.
Okay. Then this is my Zimmer.
There we go.
Oh.
This
Man, another cover car.
Yeah, it is. It was the cover of Car and Driver. So you can't say it wasn't on the thing. It's basically a Fiero, so it's going to be easy to keep on the road. It's only got 10,000 miles on it.
How much do they want for it, Pearlie?
They want let's see, we get $26,000.
Or best off.
Yeah. So
Based on a Fiero?
it's a Fiero. So it's if you get right through to it, they just stretch the front of the entire thing. You can see the Fiero goes to the. I keep wanting to point at it like I can actually get to it or something.
Oh, so it's mid-engine?
It's
Yep.
Yeah.
V6, 2.8 liter GM V6.
It's like 140 horsepower, I think. The high
The
output.
mid-engine car with the longest hood ever.
That's right.
And what's under the hood? Like, is it
Tornado proportions.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the Fiero interior with the gas tank and the big
Oh, yeah.
tunnel.
Yeah, it's all. It's got. I think that's signed by Zimmer. So,
I can't believe we have 2 Zimmers today. This is pretty shocking.
well, the thing is say, here's your engine here. Like, I think they took the time to change the intake manifold so it said Quicksilver on it, so you wouldn't know that it's actually a Pontiac engine.
Yeah.
That's where the money goes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Cleaning isn't cheap.
I mean, the thing is that, it's, I always looked at all the, I was looking at cheap Maseratis, and I just thought, you might as well buy 2 Maseratis, because just keeping it on the road is just going to be a pain. Meanwhile, this thing you can keep on the road, even though you wouldn't want to. So
You might want to. Is it an automatic?
You're selling this thing is selling itself, Pearly.
oh my God, look at this grill. I mean, this has got the biggest grill that leads to absolutely nothing in the history of mankind.
There's no engine in there.
There's no engine.
Do they have
there.
a shot? Do they have a shot with the headlights up?
I was about to ask the same thing, Casey. I've never seen one with the headlights.
I've never seen one with the headlights up either.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Don
they
Sharp
go
was editor of Car and Driver, he put this on the cover. He thought it was like hilarious.
Yeah. Well, you have to admit that Don does have a great sense of humor. And,
He is a madman.
Hey, I am kind of into this.
It's less bad
weird.
than
I
the
like
others.
it.
it's less bad than the other Zimmer.
Is that
It's in
leather
San
or like
Bernardino, Drew. I can go look at it for you if you're serious.
like leather or velvet?
I don't know. I like this guy's actually shooting it with you can see what kind of camera he was using to shoot it with in the thing there, because he's reflected in the fender. So that's kind of a nice glossy thing. And the other thing is really cool is it's parked behind the T100.
Is it
So-
just parked on the street?
Yeah. They didn't do
What's your next car?
Okay, hold on. This is my last car. This is the Claney Series 2 Cabriolet.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Now, the thing is that when I was a kid, they used to build these things out in Goleta, which is, very close to where I am now.
Yeah, it's like a Santa Barbara car, right?
It was very much a Santa Barbara car. And it was, they have this building out by the airport where you could go there, you could watch it build it. And there would be all these stacks of 1979 or 1980 Mercury Cougars.
Scroll through the photos while you're talking.
Yeah, Mercury Cougars.
Thank you, Casey.
Yeah. Which they
What
would.
is it? I've never heard of this in my life.
No, and I'm remembering this. This is in a movie or something. There is some kind of pop culture element with this car that I'm not.
With the Claney.
Yeah.
Where do you think the center?
Pearly, didn't they claim it was like the finest built car in the world or something? Didn't they make some outrageous claims?
Yeah, what was really weird is when they were in production, they emptied out all the surf shops because they needed people to lay up these fiberglass fenders. So there was no way to get a surfboard made in Santa
So it was
Barbara
all made by board shapers.
by a lot of board shapers.
That's
That's
pretty
kind of
cool.
okay. That's kind of cool.
Look, it's got like a boat. It's got like the back of a boat where you jump off to get in the water.
Yeah, it's got a
I
swim
like it,
deck.
actually.
Well, the other
Swim
thing-
deck.
It's got a swim deck,
All this is actually
and
this is all formed beaten steel behind the thing. It's actually got some neat elements to it. The tail lights are from Harley Davidson, and
What powers it, Pearly?
it's a 351 Cleveland because it's they would usually literally buy Mercury Cougars, and then you would see the Cougar bodies stacked up outside of the building because they would rip the drivetrains out, and you'd have these Cougar bodies, 2-door Cougar scoop bodies.
Is that a Beetle door skin and a Beetle
It's an
windshield?
entire Beetle tub. It's an entire.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, you would see they
You
used.
buried that. You should have. That's not very exotic,
Let's
friend.
getting to it, dude. Getting
Let's
to it.
look at it.
Calm down.
Car.
I would ride my bike out there. I would ride my bike out there and watch them build these things. And this is like the coolest thing in the history of mankind, watching build these things.
Is
Now,
it?
they're terrible, but it's not going to break. It's a 351 Cleveland.
Yeah.
That's true.
So you drive it. You're going to be the most You're going to go to every high school prom queen is going to ride in the back of this thing.
Okay.
I don't think a modern prom queen would even come 10 feet close to this thing.
yeah, you're gonna get arrested if you go to a high school with that thing.
I get arrested going to high school anyhow. So what the hell? I might as well go there in style.
How long did this build?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, was this a money-making enterprise for them?
Well, the thing is that it was not necessarily the most successful thing in the world. Claney made a lot of money with the Series 1. The Series 1 was the car. It was the first version. This came in 1976, 1977. And it used an MG midget body. Basically the same formula, but starting with an MG midget body. And that car, they couldn't keep them in stock, but he made the stupid idea of saying, limited edition. You limited him something like 400 of them.
Keep scrolling.
Right. So when the 400 keeps scrolling, okay. So when the 400 were sold, he had to go on to a second version, and people wanted it 4 passengers. So he looked for a 4-passenger tub, that replaced the midget body. And what he came up with was the Beetle. I think,
yeah, it's got the Beetle roof too. That's a Beetle roof.
Beetle roof. So he bought all that as engineer. Now the real craft of this is like, you see how they did all the metal work to take the Beetle body and end it in the back. They had guys like all these Santa Barbara guys, like Sam Foose, Chip Foose's father. I understand worked on these cars for Clinet.
Okay.
And for a while, it looked like Alain Clinet was going to transfer into being a real manufacturer. The building they built in Goleta was probably a $6 or $7 million building back in 1980. And
how much are they charging for this Beetle?
For this Beetle, well, with the fenders, $24,995.
So this or the Zimmer Quicksilver, I wonder.
Wait, could you do this with? Could you do a front and rear engine car? Could you convert this to front and rear engine?
You can do anything you want, Casey. It's just a matter of time and effort and how much money you want to spend.
Okay, next car.
Okay. Well, this is the last one. This is 4 cars. This is my 4th one.
Okay.
Okay.
And this is the
$30
RT.
grand.
This is the dentist killer. This is the car, an early Viper. We're wicked, nasty handling bastards.
That's awesome.
But it's awesome, isn't it?
Scroll.
Yeah.
And this is a 93, so this is a little bit later, so it has, I think, the better wheels. I didn't like the chrome finish. I don't know why they did that.
I think those are the GTS. Those are the GTS wheels from the coupe, aren't they? From
Yeah, but that's later. That's like
yeah, that's even later. Well, I
Which is
think
like
Fuji has
96.
taken off the 3
Is it in good shape?
Yeah. But I mean, look at this thing. It's still, it's a pretty spectacular car. And it's only got
only 21,000 miles.
yeah,
Keep
21,000
strong.
miles on it. And these things are scary. I mean, they have adhesion right to the point in time when it gives up and it kills you. But,
Easily your best car, but that's not saying much.
Great. When we get to yours, Tony, we'll see what it is. The crap that you're going to foist on us, okay?
Don't get upset.
Yeah, what the hell? Why, you always pick on me, dude. And it comes with some sort of bag for holding something. I think that's
the top.
That doesn't look good.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
think
that
that's the top.
That engine alone is damn
Yeah,
near worth $30,000.
Yeah, they were like 400 horsepower. I think 400 pound-feet of torque.
400
8 liter
horsepower,
V10.
But by the time they left production, they were making like what, 700 horsepower, 600 and some odd horsepower, something like that.
40, I think.
6 and some change.
40.
Yeah, and they had the cool cam and a cam, but this one does not have the cool cam and a cam.
Yeah, this is the first iteration.
But the early Vipers have a certain purity to them because they make no sense. They have side curtains. They don't have windows.
Right.
They're pretty uncompromised, and
No ABS, right?
No ABS.
ABS.
Yeah. No
The
traction
build-
control.
the build quality on these things was so terrible.
All right.
And you'd get down underneath, you look at the body, there'd be like a stack of shins that goes about the size of your fist, holding the body together. They're really, in a lot of ways, terrible. Kind of the fact that they built them at all is kind of really cool.
It's cool. It's a modern day Cobra.
Yeah, and relatively speaking, they're not. I don't know if they're ever going to go up in value, but I can't imagine it's going to go down in value from that.
No, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I think they're pretty reliable. I mean, they're pretty robust and simple. There's not a lot.
Truck
to it.
engine. It's
Yeah.
a truck engine. So it's
All right.
that's it. I have my 4. I think they're brilliant choices and better than anything you guys can come up with. There you go.
All right. Casey's up next. Casey, what you got?
All right. This one is going to require some arguing on my behalf to consider it exotic. But I think it's got an exotic engine, exotic dampers, exotic brakes, exotic rubber. Might be it's a little over budget, but these things are really cool, and
They're a pretty amazing car.
they're really cool. They only made like 1,800 of them, and so it's a Z28. So this is 7-liter LS7, 505 horsepower, just an absolute weapon on the track. And I mean, I don't know. There's not a lot of photos here.
How many miles are on it?
It's got 40,000 miles, so it's probably some moderately hard miles. Although the car's in South Florida, I think. Is this the one?
The Alcantara wheel doesn't look too bad.
Yeah.
No. It's South Florida. So I'm kind of thinking, and it's not. The car doesn't have AC, so
Ooh.
I know. So I'm like, I don't know where it was driven most of the time, but it
Are the
probably
ones with
wasn't.
AC worth a lot more?
Generally.
Did they have AC? Did any of them have AC?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. There was like a one speaker, no AC package.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that was yeah, and then it was like a no cost option to get full stereo.
Right.
Air conditioning might have cost something though.
And the reason they even kept one speaker is because the turn signal noise comes through the speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the not the turn signal noise, the like doors ajar and
Yeah,
all
right.
the
warning,
FMVSS
all the
stuff.
warning stuff. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
argue against this being an exotic because I just don't think it looks like one. Like as soon as you have to start explaining a car to someone, it's like becomes less cool.
Yeah, you know,
You
this
had
is,
to explain the crap out of everything that's been brought up.
Fair
So,
enough.
And I mean, like, I think this qualifies. I mean, this is like maybe it's more
Didn't make a
exotic
lot of
dancer.
them.
Maybe it's more exotic dancer than just exotic. But
well, you know what's really cool about this is that if it's the car, it's the type of cars that the people who know what it is, think it's cool. The people who don't know what it is, who cares?
Yeah.
And there are certain things like the flow tie in the front of the car. The Chevy symbol that goes through, and plus a very good friend of mine, Mark Steele, is the chief engineer on this car, and Mark knows how to tune a suspension.
name drop.
Yeah, close personal friend, and he did a brilliant job with this car. I mean,
He did absolutely.
No, it's a spectacular car.
This is a spectacular car, and I mean, it's let's call it blue collar exotic. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds.
I like it.
It's
It's
a
Joe
car.
Exotic. It's Joe Exotic. Casey.
Yeah.
So I got next up.
Come on, the
I got
Tiger.
Oh yeah.
I got a Lotus Elise.
Couple of these when I was searching too, and I wasn't sure if they would count as exotic, but
I think they are because they turn heads.
Yeah.
You noticed
And
that for sure.
Does that one have a red? Yeah, that has red seats. That's
yeah,
good.
so this is a really cool color combo. If we can.
I had a dark blue one with the red seats.
Ooh.
You owned one?
You don't know the best thing about this car? John Hennessy hasn't touched it.
Can I agree with that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the Toyota. I loved all the Toyota stuff.
Yeah, it's a good.
Yes.
These are easygoing, fun cars to drive. If you
Yeah,
fit it.
I mean they're loud and they're buzzy, and they're really low. If you've never driven one, they're really low to the ground and
They're
They have,
cool.
they have no sound insulation.
very
Poor
nimble.
man,
Well, this
poor
is
man's
touring. So
McLaren
this one,
F1. That's what I called it. It's a poor man's McLaren F1.
It's
Yeah.
they're fun little cars.
but I mean, like, look at the interior. I mean, like the interior's got a bunch of exposed aluminum and
Yeah, that's cool.
seats are
The
just these, like,
05s,
simple
the
buckets.
05s, the 05s had the extruded pedals. The right passenger seat is bolted in. You can't even move it.
Yeah,
The whole windshield frame is plastic. So if one of your goofy friends gets in the passenger side and grabs onto the top of that windshield, they will snap your windshield.
yeah.
It's a good
They're
choice.
cool. They're
What is
cool.
the touring package?
Touring package was like, I think, power windows and
Ooh.
some insulation.
So some
Um,
basic niceties.
Did include floor mats? I think is what the.
I think this one has the sport package wheels on it though, which was the more aggressive.
Yeah, it was like
Big bumps.
AO48s. I think it was
Yeah.
AO48s.
And then the front tires were wider.
Anyway, I've always liked them. I know Tony, after owning one, is kind of a little sour on them, but
Tony
I mean, it was-
Tony starts at a little sour and then gets sourer.
but
was
I like
just-
them.
I thought
I
it was
like
a car that I would have enjoyed when I was younger. I bought it too late in my life, and I really liked it, but it sort of just became an A to A car, and I never really felt. And people would come up to me at gas stations and ask me if I liked my Tesla, which I thought was really funny because I was putting gas in it.
And if you know Tony, you know he hates engaging with people he doesn't know.
Well, and you also get the question like, what kind of car is that if they don't have any idea? And then you're like, it's a Lotus, and then they say who makes that, and then you say Lotus, and then you just end up in this loop of stupidity.
Would you rather have this or the Tesla version? The Tesla
I'd
Roadster.
rather have this. I'd rather
I
have
think
Oh,
I'd rather
yeah.
have this.
I'd rather have this with a Honda engine, which
Oh yeah, the case swap.
we the last Super Tutor challenge we did, we had a Honda powered Elise that was pretty sweet. So anyway,
the case
in-
Honda engines.
moving right along.
Okay, go on.
Thank you.
Something that I think is probably considered a little more exotic is an
Oh,
S1 Esprit.
Talk about a
And-
red shape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean this was the James Bond submarine car.
Yeah.
Was that which Bond was that? Was that Spy Who Loved Me, Pearly?
I love you, 1977.
And this is what is this? Is this Bertone?
No,
No,
it's
this is a, I mean,
Oh, this is Giugiaro. Yeah, this is Giugiaro.
Yeah.
And these early ones just had 140 horse, 4-cylinder.
This thing is so original. It's
Yeah,
so cool.
Yeah, they
I
were
find the
not
later
quick,
of these, but I think the later ones are kind of boring looking compared to.
Did these use like some pile of crap Renault transmission though that just fell apart?
whatever. I kind of consider these early ones the same way I think about like Countaches. Like I love the early Countaches.
Yeah.
But then like they were in production for so long and morphed so many times that like they're almost unrecognizable to the later ones.
Yeah, there's a purity to this one.
Yeah.
It's just a pretty engine. They should at least vacuum out the luggage.
Yeah, it's a little messy in there.
But yeah, so I mean, this is unquestionably exotic in my mind. I've never driven an early one like this. I've driven an S4S and I think a V8, and their ergonomics are kind of weird, but I don't know. I like these cars.
This
And
is
if you've ever,
exotic. This is very exotic.
Is there a shot of the tail?
yeah, I'm sure there is. The
There.
one,
No.
go ahead.
My piece of trivia, because I can't stand going through a car without showing how much I know about cars.
Rover taillights.
Not Rover taillights. Those are, I think, Fiat X19 taillights.
Oh.
Are they?
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
can see
sure.
that actually. Yeah.
All right, that doesn't bother me. And
I love that Lotus script across the rear there.
yeah, the Elise has a very similar. I mean, you can,
Oh yeah, right across the back.
yeah.
Well, at least in black, the waviness of the fiberglass is going to show off best of all in black paint.
But this was a car. This was a car that. What did we say? Because I wrote down the quote because I was so surprised. It said, we said it leaped from corner to corner like a Formula Ford.
Yeah, they were light in their original iteration too.
Yeah.
Well, isn't the chassis basically fiberglass? I mean, it's there's like a spine.
It has the backbone, and then
Backbone,
yeah.
and
But
the fiberglass body's two parts. You can see the line in the middle of it where the two parts meet.
yeah,
You're talking about like up there?
No, down at the
right down the center.
at the door.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so like-
where the two pieces of fiberglass.
So
meet.
like the tub that you're sitting in is actually a fiberglass tub. You're not.
Yeah,
sitting-
with metal reinforcement. But
Yeah. So-
and then the spine is in the middle.
right, which is the traditional Lotus chassis.
I don't know if you've ever watched Harry's Garage. You should watch the Lotus Esprit Harry's Garage. He takes it on a road trip, which is kind of great.
I think
Your last
this-
one. Oh, you got one more?
Or-
I got one more, and this is
oh,
Oh, I looked at this.
yeah. So this is a TVR Griffith, an early one. They call it Hemmings is just calling it a TVR custom. It is 100% a Griffith. But these cars were like just over like 2,000 pounds, and it was like a 240 horse Rover V8, which is that same engine that was in Defenders. Kind of
Buick, the Buick aluminum one.
yeah, it was a Buick.
Buick
Yeah. Early Buick engine, and
Look at that panel gap.
well, it's fiberglass again. And that's why. Well, it's actually interesting. That's why if you look at this gap here, that was basically done because they didn't have the right manufacturing tolerances to make it fit the way they wanted it to fit. So they were like, embrace it and make it kind of
turn it into a feature.
Yeah.
It became like an iconic styling.
Yeah.
Like the door handles. I mean, these are oddball cars. It's actually fun. My uncle's neighbor has one of probably like 10 that are in the country. He's got a 99. Well, I guess it's a late one. So it's a 99, but he brought it in as a kit car. The guy's he's British, and basically got it in because they made like a dozen kit cars for people with like the proper documentation and everything. So
They right-hand drive. They're all right-hand drive, right?
Yep, all right-hand drive.
Mhm.
That's pretty exotic.
Yeah, you never see him.
The whole
You know,
car, I mean, the
TVR.
TVR is exotic, yeah.
Yeah, you never see him in like like the door handle releases here and like the ashtray. There's ashtrays on both doors. A nice place to rest a heater as you're burning down the road. But
I'm shocked by how vulnerable it looks. I mean, from the back and from the front, there's no bumpers.
There's nothing, yeah.
yeah, and they have this crazy exhaust manifold that runs towards the front of the car and then down and underneath everything.
Is it a single pipe or is it dual pipe?
No, you can see. I mean, you got 4 header tubes, and then there's just like it's like a 8 into 1.
Yeah, man.
And then it's just one massive tube running back.
That's
So
bizarre.
does it run alongside the drive shaft, or does it run? Does it run in the same? It doesn't run in the
Same general area.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the engine so far against the firewall. I guess they decided to route it out that way. That's weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it was just a way to fit it in there, basically. But yeah, so.
All right.
Yeah.
So those are your picks.
Those are my picks.
Those are good ones. Those are good picks.
All right.
How do I stop sharing? How do I stop it, Pearly?
You go up to the top.
There we go. Got it.
All right.
But I can help, Casey, because I'm here for you.
All right, I'm up next. So I found an NSX for 30 grand, which is not easy to do.
Yeah.
Oh.
Unfortunately.
How many miles?
Pretty rad.
It has
200,000
miles.
What?
2 bills.
I had to operate within the budget, but it's still probably more reliable than that Maserati.
True.
And what's going on with its ride height?
What's that?
Something's off.
What's going on with its ride height? Is that because of the wheel and tire package?
I think he's
Yeah,
got the
they-
wrong offset rear wheels.
Oh, the front looks really high.
And he took out the rear.
It might be on +1 or +2s, and then they didn't drop the car. I don't know.
He
It
cut off.
also has this horrible. I mean,
Oh,
isn't that
stop there. Is that yellow paint coming off on the sill?
probably? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
What's the
Well, that's
original
good
color?
because then it'll look less like Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, that's bad.
Nope.
The Ronald McDonald car.
That's the exact color scheme.
All right. Well, it's still exotic. Okay, my next car. I'll move on to my next car.
It's exotic.
DeLorean.
Ooh.
Okay.
Nothing more, and it's a stick DeLorean too. It's a manual. It's not even an automatic, and it's a little over budget, unfortunately, but it's a pretty nice original-looking car. It's got only
$100 bills will take that car away from whoever is trying to sell it.
What's that?
If you show up with $100 bills, that's
You walk
coming home
away
with
with
30
it.
grand for sure.
Apparently, the gauges are read, even though the gauges are still reading, even though the car's presumably off.
Well, the car may be idling there. You don't know because it does idle up to 25.
Idling at 3,500.
2,400 RPM idle.
But
Yeah.
it's an original California car. I mean, this plate
plate.
dates back to, it's a blue plate. Yeah, it dates back to when it was new.
What's the-
I don't know. I love the shape of these, and I love the way they look.
Points that it
Funny
doesn't
because-
have a.
You know why they failed? You know why the DeLorean failed?
Cocaine.
Lots of reasons.
They sucked. They were terrible.
Yeah, it's not quick, but nothing of the era was very quick.
What's funny about DeLoreans is that like non-car people are always like, ooh, the DeLorean, like that's a cool car, right? And I'm like, not really, but everyone always remembers it, I think, because of Back to the Future and because it looks so iconic.
Yeah, it has
DeLorean wrote Zemeckis a letter after Back to the Future came out and was like, "Thank you for keeping my dream alive" or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it went, but
Yeah, well, this is the only thing that keeps it from being a nightmare and makes it into a dream is the fact that it was in Back to the Future.
it looks cool.
that
It has the
angle
backbone
is
chassis,
so
like
rad.
the Esprit. Lotus did a bunch of the engineering to actually make it work, so it's got the backbone chassis. Unlike the Esprit, it's rear engine.
It's
All right,
not
that's
mid-engine.
Mid-engine.
Not
This
mid-engine.
is rear engine.
It's rear engine. It uses the PRV V6, the Peugeot
Yeah,
Renault.
this is rear engine. The Esprit's mid-engine. This is rear engine.
Yeah.
All right, last car. Lotus Elan. I'm way under budget here.
I like that.
Isuzu. You picked an Isuzu.
Didn't you own a red one, Tony?
Maybe.
Did you pick an Isuzu?
No, this is
This
is-
got a backbone chassis.
What kind of power plant does it have in it?
It has a Lotus power plant.
What kind of power plant is that from?
Well, like all Lotuses,
No, no,
it
no,
has
no,
a
no.
shared engine.
No. Where did who made the engine, Tony? Where did it come from?
Like all Lotuses, it
Oh,
shares its engine.
You're avoiding it. Where does it come from, Tony?
It comes from an Isuzu.
It's an Isuzu. And which drive wheels are moved here on
The
this?
front ones.
That's right.
All-wheel
It's
drive
like wheels
exotic.
on everything. This is the biggest fail of the entire day. Is you picked an Isuzu, whatever it was, an Isuzu Storm convertible.
It's
I
turbo.
like it.
See, it doesn't even say Isuzu on the cam cover anymore.
Yeah, that Zimmer had a
Just like your Zimmer.
cover too.
It is.
It's
But I
just
think
a-
the original ones, I think it originally did say Isuzu Lotus on it. But
Why
anyway,
is dual overhead cam 16 valve on the? Is that the intercooler?
That's the intake.
where?
It's the
No,
original.
it's just the intake.
There's no turbo. There's no intercooler on it.
There's the turbo.
Yeah,
there
there's
is.
a turbo.
Charge, 162 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds. Do you guys recognize these taillights?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where I saw them.
Geo Metro.
No, Renault Alpine.
Oh.
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 You know, later this was
Oh.
also a Kia Elan.
Yes, it was. They
Really?
did they call it the Elan? They called it the Kia something.
At first, I think they called it the Elan and then maybe changed the name. But yeah, they like.
So
licensed-
these turn signals, do you guys recognize these front turn signals?
Are they from
No.
Mitsubishi.
McLaren F1.
McLaren F1.
Whoa.
Well, don't you think the McLaren F1 pulled them off something originally though too?
The Lotus Elan.
Probably happened that way.
So, I'm way under budget here. I've got a convertible 2-seat Lotus, styled by Peter Stevens, the same guy who did the McLaren F1 too, I may add.
I like this. It's weird and I love it.
How old are you?
Back.
Past a front-wheel drive exotic.
See, I'm old enough to have actually driven that pile of garbage.
I owned one, Pearly.
I know, and I drove one. They suck.
Tony,
There
the
were
last
only
time
500, I think there were 562 of them brought into the United States.
the last time I talked to you about this car, Tony, you were like, "It's not that good." I mean, that's like a verbatim quote.
They suck. This is.
All right, so those are my choices. Those are my
Yeah.
choices.
Yeah, they're inexcusable, Tony.
So now we get to the verdict. Let me find the verdict screen. Okay. Drew, you went first, right? So which car are you putting up?
I gotta go with my Maserati. It's the only one that was close to the budget and it's pretty new and pretty. So Maserati Gran Turismo.
It fits the requirements. Thumbs up.
Okay, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you, Drew.
Thanks. Thank you. All right.
All right, Joey, which of your vehicles?
Obviously,
of
have
your-
to pick the Prowler.
Yes. I love the Prowler.
Just look
Just
at
wish it was
it.
purple.
Drew was the only thumbs up. You almost had a unanimous thumbs
I was actually thinking about this. I don't think in any of these videos I have ever given a thumbs down to anything. I just
Oh, really? We'll see about
I've received a lot of thumbs down. I've been keeping track.
that. All right, Curly, which car are you putting up?
The Viper. If I was going to go
Yeah, I
out,
like that.
Yeah.
if I was going to go out and buy a real classic for used, that's a.
I kind of love that choice. And then Casey, what are you thinking?
I mean, I guess if it was my money, I'm probably going with the Elise. So, but no, the Esprit. We'll put the Esprit up. The
The
Esprit
Esprit is so cool. I like that.
The Esprit is
rad.
pretty sweet. All right, I'm
Joey.
torn between the Elan and the DeLorean, but I think I'm going to put up the DeLorean.
No, I feel like it's so bad to drive.
Oh no!
I'll give you a sympathy thumbs up.
I'm giving a thumbs up to the Elan. I think it's neat.
All right. Thank you. Drew.
Crap.
I'm giving a thumbs up to Ronald McDonald.
That was trash.
You found the world's worst NSX.
Yeah.
So that goes.
But I made the budget.
They're all
All right. Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you later. Till next week.
Yeah.